Justine and Mike are fugazi. They are absolutely fugazi. They took and wasted all of our time this season bringing these two back for a fake marriage. Their storyline, we have basically written it ourselves. We are fully aware that this was some crap. But anyway, we're going to talk about it because one of the things that I believe that is not fugazi is the fact that Mike is broke. Now, we have been watching all season where Justine has been trying on wedding dresses, calling her mom. If she was going to take a trip to New York, just take a trip to New York. It appears that the only thing that they did was met up with Mike's family to look at some ballroom, right? And so they look at this. Hello, Lynn Nebra, and thank you so much for the super chat. It came in right as I was getting off. So thank you so much, beloved, for your super chat. I really do appreciate it. But so we're now, Justine and her mom have gone out to see a show. And Mike, we left off last week's episode with Mike calling his mother and asking his mother for $1,000 in order to pay for the trip. He tells her to cash app him the money and everything. So it appears that Mike is up in, hey, JW, hey, Fire Good Vibes Only. Hello there, Ray Della. Hey, everybody. Hey. So Mike is basically in New York with no money. And, we don't know whether or not Mike's mother, and I've said this before, that if Mike's mother has a job or not, how's she getting $1,000? Anyway, I digress. And so, Mike has been acting funny. Last week's episode, he was out in the middle of the street, whining like a little baby and all of that kind of stuff, talking about the days that were. Mike indicated that in this episode that he was making $60,000 a day. You telling a lie. That was a whole lot and a half. Like, who believed that? If Mike was making $60,000, and I think that that's what he said. And y'all correct me downtown in the comment section. Maybe he said 6,000. Maybe he said $600. I don't know, but I thought that he said he was making about $60,000. Am I right or am I wrong about that? Y'all let me know. First of all, when you go to New York, right? I just went to New York for Fashion Week. Um, okay, thank you, JW. Mike has been struggling, period. Since the two of them got out of jail. We saw that ratchet home that they were living in prior to them moving to Vegas. They have never really had any money. And a lot of people want to talk about the material things that Mike and Justine appeared to have, right? You can have a car leased. Some people actually think it's cheaper to lease. You can fake and be fugazi on everything in your life. If Mike was making that much money a day, he would have had a whole entire Scarface crew. If you out there on the street and you don't have no worker bees, you're not making that much money. And if you're making that much money, your worker bees are going to be there to protect you and take the fall for you. Mike, I don't believe that his charges was he was a kingpin. I've known kingpins, and Mike is not a kingpin. Period. Because a kingpin would have took care of his family. If he was at kingpin status, making $60,000 a day, his kids would not have wanted for anything. Let's just go ahead on and keep it all the way a buck. It's unbelievable based on how he got caught, how much time he spent in there. Mike will be spending still. If Mike was at kingpin status making that much money, Mike would still be in jail. Because that means that Mike was running an enterprise. And he wants us to believe that the years that he got, he was making that much money. Justine had been living in crap and was still working. Remember, we were disappointed when we found out that she left the job that she was on. There's no way in the world, in my opinion, these are my opinions. You let me know what yours is downtown in the chat. But there's no way in the world, especially when you know these people, you know of these people, you've been around these people, you grew up with these kind of people in your neighborhood or in a neighboring neighborhood. Like, there's no way in the world that Mike is going to ever convince me that he was making that much money. He comes out and he's got all these side hustles, how to fix your credit, renting cars and all of this kind of stuff. And then if he was that type of guy, he would not be stressed out about money now. There's no way in the world that I'm going to believe anything that Mike has to say about how much money he was making and how easy it is to make the money. Because it ain't easy to make the money because now you don't have no turf. And you definitely don't have no turf in Vegas because that's not where you were living. I believe Michael and Justine was living in Rhode Island. Why be fugazi? Why fake your life when your real life is probably more interesting than what your fake life is? Like, okay, I'm just saying this for a friend. So Justine always knew that she was not, and I mean, in my opinion, Justine knew that she was not going to have a $60,000 or a $80,000 wedding. And why is she using her mom's $100,000 wedding? Okay, as something for her to obtain to, like, girl, bye. You had children in college, one child in college, one child that's going to college. You have other children who are, all through the school system. You got two little babies, and Mike is sitting out here thinking about drug money. Like really, what you have is fine. I don't know why people want to fake and act like they have more than what they have. Because the more simple that you live, the more you stay off the radar. This is what I heard. Now, I don't know. It could not be true. But what you don't want to do is be driving around in a flashy car, spending money that you absolutely don't have. Okay. Mike probably got a couple of credit cards, or maybe Justine do, but they're not living a lavish life. Look at their house. It's empty. It doesn't have art in it. Anyone who is making money knows that art is a way, right? To like, you know what, I ain't even gonna go into it. But anyway, so Justine, mother leaves and everything. I didn't even see Mike tell the mother buy anything, right? He has to pay for this trip. So that means that he, you know, I don't know how he paid for the trip prior to them, getting in everything. And so now Justine is like, okay, what's going on? Now, just from Justine being calm lets me know that Justine already knew. She knew this was fugazi. She knew that Mike did not have the wherewithal to pay for all of this stuff because she backed down too easy. Only thing she said was, this is the kind of stuff that I don't like, the kind of lies that Mike tells, right? And so we like, oh, okay, Mike tell a couple of lies or two or 50. But so does Justine, because she went along with this for Fugazi, and she was like, I had, when she went into the venue, she was talking about, having ideas about, how this was going to work out for her, who she was going to have walk her down the aisle, her first dance, all that kind of stuff, right? She had already thought about that stuff, but she gave in too quickly for this to be Justine. We've watched Justine now for like 10, 20 years. on Life After Lockup, and we already know how Justine reacts when there is something that, she is dissatisfied with or she's angry with Mike. She took down very easily, and I just was like, okay, this is fugazi. Like, this is straight up fake. So anyway, the two of them, Mike tells her he can't afford it not right now. There's some things about the finances that's just not right. There's one of the businesses that is bleeding over top of all the other ones, and that's why you don't get into multiple businesses like that, right? You take your time and you do what you do. What's going on? Thank you so much, baby Philly Fox, for the 199 super chat. Maybe 8,000 Indian rupees out of this. Hmm? Maybe what? Philly Fox, I don't understand what you saying. Maybe 80,000 Indian rupees out of this? What is an Indian rupee? Thank you so much, Boo Boo, for the super chat. Let me look up what a rupee is. So right now it says the Indian rupee is worth 11 cents. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to put the number you put in. 901 United States dollars. Okay. Thank you, Willie Fox. Okay, yeah, it's 900 and what did it come up to? It came up to $901.27 right now. So it's just it's unfortunate. So Justine and Mike are putting off their wedding. Mike is talking. Had a conversation with her about the two of them postponing the wedding and stuff like that, and Justine was like, okay, that's what we'll do. So that's where we're left off with this couple. It was Fugazi from the beginning, and it's Fugazi going out. They said that they're scheduling the wedding for 2026. So what does that tell us? That there is a huge possibility that this couple may be coming back next year. I think that they should just hang it up. I don't know, I don't really go out on like other sites and stuff. Like, who's fanning for them? I can't understand who is liking them. I can't. Who likes them? I believe the same thing. Kanisha said it seems both of one of their parents have money and they want the same lifestyle. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Raina, for the $10 super chat. Hi, Auntie. Finally caught alive. Welcome, Boo, and thank you for the kisses. I don't know why, we're going through the stuff that we're going through with them and why we're seeing what we're seeing here. But I absolutely am so sick of them. And like I said, I hope that they do not come back because they don't have a fascinating storyline. Here's the thing, WeTV and the producers of this show. Let me give you a little suggestion downtown to the chat. Okay. If you want to make Mike and Justine stay here and you want to continue to push them in our faces, the children are the storyline. The parenting of the children is the storyline. It is no longer Mike and Justine's fantasy world. They're too old for this. Justine even told Mike, look, let me tell you, I want you to not get into this fast life again because I want you to be able to raise your children. I want you to be here to raise your children. I agree with that. I think that Mike needs to lose weight so that he can be there for his kids, and he needs to leave and get rid of this fantasy life. The children are the storyline, WeTV. It's not this old couple anymore trying to act like they're young. We're not interested in whether or not Justine has a wedding or not. But if you put those kids at the forefront, get Justine and Mike to agree for us to follow those children or to get statuses on the children. When the daughter was on there and was talking about Mike not being in her life and having a fight at the high school and now, looking at college, that's what's interesting. Justine and Mike are has-beens. And and frankly, I can speak for myself. That's the only person I can speak for. They're no longer wanted on this show. If you're going to keep them, let's do the children. Thank you so much, Philly Fox, for the 199 super chat. Auntie said we're going to the currency calculator. Absolutely. I go to my bestie for almost everything. Um, I don't know. I know that I have talked to a couple of them in the past, and they get like $1,500 an episode. And those are the episodes that they are on. I think that for the most part, from what I have heard and what I understand, is that most of the time when they do the filming, they've done the filming. And so we're seeing past things that have already been filmed, which is why we are continuing to see Courtney and Will. And they're going to be up next. Okay. So it's not a lot of money that they're making. And it is, they film this stuff in like lightning speed, like in a day or two. So they're not really making no money. But anyway, hopefully we won't see them back again. The daughter, the youngest, the Mike's daughter, oldest daughter, is finally not going to have to be taking care of kids. They said at the end of the episode that she is on her way to college. So good on her, because when we were introduced to her, if you all remember, she was the one that was really supporting her brothers and sisters while Mike was in jail. Now, they never said what was going on with the baby mama, but it appeared that the oldest daughter was the one that was in there getting it busy and taking care of those kids. And so it's great to see that not only her, but Justine's oldest daughter, I suppose she's still in school, are in school, so that they don't have to be pseudo moms, right? Because I think that that is one of the reasons why Mike's mother is probably still in the home, because Justine can't manage all of those kids on her own. But anyway, y'all, this was the season finale for them. Let's see if they come back another season. Y'all let me know downtown in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode. And Justine and Mike. Love y'all. Coming right back.